Hey guys, Zibboyeye or just Zib is fine, and today we're looking at an anime. Or is it a video game? Nah, it's an anime, but it centers around video games in a way you might not expect. From TMS Entertainment, the studio behind Sonic X, comes an anime that brings us anthropomorphic SEGA video game consoles, complete with magical girl transformations, known as Hi-sCoool Seha Girls. Now the Seha Girls, aka SEGA Hard Girls, look, I know how it sounds, but it's hard as in hardware, not hard as in... Let's just move on. SEGA Hard Girls as a franchise has an unexpected amount of content. They have the token manga and figurines, but they've also made appearances in video games. And if these designs look familiar, that's because they come from Vocaloid illustrator and Miku Hatsune original designer Kei Gato, who is tasked with redesigning almost everything SEGA for the project. From the localized American as hell SEGA Genesis to add-ons to different models of add-ons to even an early SEGA toy, the Seha Girls is a robust cast. Although because of their iconicism, Mega Drive, Saturn, and Dreamcast tend to be given the most focus, as they are in this anime. And with that, let's say we press that start button. Did I really write that? Let's get right into Hi-sCoool Seha Girls. The show centers around three students, console, SEGA Saturn, a rather high-strung girl who often acts as the straight man. Dreamcast, the happy-go-lucky, bubbly yet bumbling anime girl, you know the one. And finally, Mega Drive. Alongside her analytical nature, she manages to keep a cool head throughout most situations. They attend Seha Gaga Academy, taught by Sinner Sensei. In order to graduate, they must earn at least 100 medals. How do they do this? Well, like the real world, playing video games helps you get through school life, but this time in a more literal sense. By accomplishing Sinner Sensei's gaming challenges, they are awarded a set of medals. The medals set the end game for the story, but how they get there is up to the writer's discretion. In other words, it's not heavy on narrative. As for the animation, the show's animated using MMD, Miku Miku Dansu, a free animation tool famous for videos like... Oh, and dancing too. The visuals aren't exactly oozing budget, but for a simple character-based comedy, there's not much needed. But even so, the movements are smooth and fluid, showing that it's not the tool that makes the art, it's the technique. So what are the episodes like? Well, that's a good question. Episode 1 introduces the characters. They enter the game, then they beat their challenge by the end of episode 2. Episodes 3 and 4 are no different. We get scenes of the girls, then they jump into the game where they spend the next episode and a half. Episode 6 gets into the thick of it quicker, but it's still left to be continued until episode 7. So, the series is derived of two-part stories? Not exactly. Discounting the two final episodes, barely half of the series is told in two-parters. Most of the latter half of the series is one game gets one episode, and two episodes aren't even about going into a game. The first half is misleading, the structure of the series is inconsistent. Because of this, you go into episodes not knowing what to expect, and not in the haha surprise kind of way, but the I don't really know what this series is sort of way. What can we say is the series though? For one, it's a comedy. The humor can be fast-paced, sometimes it's blink and you miss it. But I find that the delayed reactions you'll have make the jokes funnier. The show has many moments of absurdity. It does well to subvert your expectations. Sometimes I feel it's so over the top it reminds me of Bobo 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 Bobo.
足も大きくなると言ってるぞ。あれ？おじいさんが？炎だけ大きくなりました。
And sometimes, actually, I'll let this scene speak for itself.
ソニック・ザ・ヘッジホッグの宿敵であり、マッドサイエンティスト、天才だが最悪の男だ。ハッキングしたのはどうやらこいつらしいな。あのハゲ親父。
The show has inner character humor, which is often absurd as well. Dreamcast's ramblings with huge leaps in logic to out-of-left-field results is a joke that's recycled a lot in the series.
女子アナなんてなりたくないから。じゃあもうバスへのスナックのママくらいしかありませんよ。いいんですか？私の人生その2択しかないの？
However, that joke they drag and grind into the ground by the end of it. The show also uses callbacks to previous jokes. Like any good joke, they're unexpected, packing a punch as well as being amusing in how far and various they can keep the ball rolling. The last and arguably predominant humor of the show is the references. There's sort of layers to its enjoyability. There's some jokes you will get just being fairly versed in video games, such as the play on combo spamming and overpowered moves in episode 2. Then you have the most common references to SEGA. There's a lot of jokes about the hardware.
ネットにつなぎますね。え？何なのこの音。
And about the games.
大変です。助けた人たちが逃げていきます。アクションゲームと勘違いしているのかもしれない。
Sometimes it could be a little too deep cut though, like referencing Romania 203, a game released only in Japan, or singing the Japanese commercial to Altered Beast. It's definitely not made for the casual anime fan or gamer. Now I consider myself a pretty big SEGA fan. From Genesis to Saturn to Dreamcast to today, it's fair to say I follow the company like a pet dog. But even I found myself lost a number of times. It's an esoteric anime and most of it you won't get unless you're big on SEGA or from Japan. And I found entertainment from the many references I did get. Not only that, but the trio acts as a buddy to guide you through even the references you aren't familiar with. However, I still maintain it's aimed at SEGA fans and SEGA fans only. The characters and the references are the two legs the show stands on. And to illustrate what I mean, I'm gonna refer to my least favorite episode, episode 8, aka Shine, the 54th, Shock to the Brain. No spillage, but will destroy the barriers of spillage-obsessed youth. Seha Gaga Academy Culture Festival. Yeah. This is an episode where the girls don't go into a video game. Instead, they have to make a display for the Culture Festival, followed by a beauty contest. Most of the episode is the girls talking about their competitors in terms of beauty, and the big payoff at the end is the pageant. Considering the lack of focus given to their display, I question why they didn't just remove the Culture Festival entirely. But I digress. It's a really dull episode. It doesn't explore a game you love, or any game for that matter. The majority of it is spent as the characters stand still in a single room gawking about others' footnotes on Wikipedia, and it's as boring as it sounds. The characters are simple, they lack depth, and Dreamcast's random rambly joke is the writer's go-to that's been gone to too often. There isn't enough about the characters to have a whole episode centered solely around them. But on the flip side, if the show were just references, it would be nothing more than a shallow reminder of games you have affinity for. Now let's look at my favorite episode and how it uses the characters and the games right. The episodes Up, Down, Left, and occasionally Up Diagonal, and We Tried to Dance to Space Channel 5. Aka episodes 3 and 4. The episode starts off at the school where the girls are discussing careers. Saturn teases Mega Drive, requesting her to attempt newscasting, and Mega Drive cracks under the pressure. Jumping into Space Channel 5, she finds herself broadcasted to the universe, having to overcome her stage fright. One reason why this works is because the focus is delegated to both the characters and the game equally. Mega Drive's fear directly corresponds to the content of the game. The girls and the reference are both part of a single narrative. The characters provide a different perspective to see these games you know and love through. Meanwhile, the game establishes a scenario for the characters that are recognizable and fun to see them play around in. This is why the show needs both the girls and the games equally. Moving on to the final episode, it gets unexpectedly sentimental and relatable. It parallels the end of high school with the characters fearful of drifting apart. Then it hits you with a shocking twist. Mega Drive, Saturn, and Dreamcast are all video game consoles. Okay, maybe the twist isn't that surprising as much as their explanation. It turns out the school is a collective consciousness of the people at SEGA that transcends time and space. The girls are nothing more than machinations of their creators' minds until they graduate. A fun literal play on going out into the real world. At first it may seem like just an extension of the show's out there humor, but this ending manages to be emotionally impactful. Meta elements in the story dissolve the fourth wall by referring to the world of the viewer and the fiction as one and the same. Its purpose is to speak to the audience more directly. The characters in the show are just ideas, but isn't that what these consoles are to us? As much as we say it's the hardware, it's the games that make the console, most of what we remember of the console is our experience with it. Our idea of the console is just that. By relegating these characters to just an idea, it makes us feel like the creators and we as fans share the same perspective. Maybe the final episode, We Will Always Be Connected, isn't just a reflection of the characters' relationships, but the connections between the developers at SEGA and their fans that will last as long as we fondly hold on to the memories of their work. And like the series, I think I'll leave it there. I've been Zibboyeye. Thanks for watching. But the series doesn't end there. As it turns out, there's a bonus episode called The Excessive 54th. Go give it all you've got. Only you can be the champion. Surpass all school events of the past. Seha Academy Sports Festival. Yeah. In this episode, our trio teams up with the RoboPitcher SG Mark III, Master System, and Mega Drive 2. They have to go into all the previous games the series showcased and, I don't know, I've never seen it. It's only on the Japanese Complete Series DVD. And so, it's another anime bonus episode doomed to never come to America. But as is, I'm still happy with the series and glad Discotech Media brought it to America at all. For all the SEGA fans who will undoubtedly enjoy it. I've been Zibboyeye and thank you for watching. Zibbo, bye bye!
These are sweet.